This is the kit. It comes with a harness that interfaces with the back of the stereo, so you don't have to do any splicing, which is pretty cool. So the two white connectors go to the body harness and the stock radio harness, and then this black connector goes into the new head unit, or the new Android system, which is pretty slick. And then it comes with cables for USB inputs and the GPS system and the backup camera, so all of that stuff just plugs in, and another wiring harness for video. So that's video in and video out. And then this is the unit, and the reason that I want to go through this a little bit, so it's a 9-inch, so he's a big guy. They send you just this front face, but not the tubes that run to the HVAC system. So you have to take apart a stock panel, and the cubby panels can be on eBay for $50 or so, and you have to cut them a little bit, shave them a little bit to make them fit. So I'm just going to go and describe what I did to make this work. On the stock cubby, the tubes are part of the vanes, so you take the tubes off and the vanes come along with you. In the new part, the up and down vanes are actually attached to the front panel. What this means is that not only do you have to take the vanes out of the tube because they're attached to the tube, but you also have to cut down the tube because if you see here, the tube comes to the very front face of that panel, and it's clipped on, and then it's screwed on here, and back here there's screw spots. But the thing to note here is see how deep that tube comes into the very front panel. With this guy, you'll see that the tube actually comes to this spot, and the front vanes are attached in the panel. So you have to, again, remove the front vanes, cut the tube, and make it fit. And what I did actually is the clips are in a different place too. I don't know what location they thought these clips were for, but anyway, these clips are part of the molding of that new front face. And what I did is I put a really small screw into the two top locations on both sides of the tube just to hold it in place. And then this screw is the same location, almost. You have to kind of widen the hole a little bit, but that's the same location as the stock. You can see over here where there used to be a screw, there's no post, so there's nothing to screw there. So that's why I put this little tiny screw in here. One more thing. The vanes that turn the air, this little guy is not actually reaching as far in towards the center of the car as the stock one does. So you see there's 4 vanes in there. There's actually, that turn side to side, there's actually 3 independent, and then that 4th one is tied to the 3rd one. And they're driven by fingers at the back of this center vent that's pushing on the 2nd vane from the center. Well, on this guy, this adjuster is not far enough in to grab that same vane, and so it really just can't control the side-to-side vanes the same way. So what you have to do with that, and this is unfortunate, but you can kind of see there's a much bigger gap here than there is here, And basically what I had to do is I had to take the vertical veins out of the tube, swap the center vein for the outer vein, cut this outer vein off of this vein, and so now what this one is, let's see if I can get a good shot of it. There's still three veins in there instead of 4, but they're the 3 independent ones. So now it's this little guy is driving the outer vein instead of the middle vein. It's a special, and it's hard to show, and unfortunately I've got it all back together, but the vein that the tab turns is special. It's got a kind of a circular section to it that this guy can slide up and down on and rotate on without binding. So you need this adjuster to be on that special vein, and this adjuster has to be turning on the outside vein instead of the middle vein. So again, what I did is took the veins out of the tube, cut this dependent little shorter vein off of the vein next to it, and then swapped this vein for this vein. And now this guy is contacting the vein with the special features on it, but it's now on the outside. And then again, it's not directing the air quite as well because there's no outer vein now. So the air is going to travel straight out more easily and more often, but at least there is some direction in there, so I'm going to be able to push some air out towards the outside of the vent. So there's a lot of fabrication involved in getting the HVAC system to work on this guy. But and then the other thing to note that I've done here is when you do shorten the tube, unless you're really precise, you're going to have a gap between the tube and the housing. So I've just got some electrical tape wrapping around to close off that gap and just make sure as much hot air as possible, or cold air, whatever it is, runs into the cabin instead of into the cavity in the dashboard. I can't go into full installation mode because I've actually done this once already, but I'll explain it real briefly. This is the stereo head unit out of an 07 or 08 Legacy or Outback. It has an extra button for aux. And so what I use is the Android unit is its audio runs through the aux on the main head unit, so I can still completely use this stereo. And that's a little different from what's normally set up, I believe. I think normally the standard stereo is just disabled and all the audio runs through the Android unit. I don't have it set up that way, so my wiring might be a little different. But this big rat's nest here is already wired up to plug into the Android head unit. Basically, this is the black connector that feeds into the main head unit harness. There's a video in from the backup camera and USB connectors, and I have a wide off cable for the radio antenna, so actually both the head unit and the Android unit get radio antenna, and then there's the GPS. And so all I'm going to do is, those are the locations for all the connectors. I'm just going to connect all those in and slide this guy in. Alright, so I did have to pull everything apart just because I had a disconnected wire in the back. Alright, so now for a turn on. And there we go. So there's the head unit. I'll push it back, plug it in again, redo or put all the trim back, and then we'll walk through some functionality. This is a quick rundown now that everything is hooked up. Again, I had a previous video where I had kind of gone through the steps that I installed a 7-inch unit. This is a bigger guy. This guy's 9 inches, and as you saw, the housing is part of the kit now, so it's a little bit better integrated looking. The cable harness, when you buy the kit, the cable harness is really straightforward. It basically wires into the head unit. Mine's a little custom because I set up the 7-inch guy first. But basically all I have to do now, so I have standard sound with my, standard sound with my head unit, and then I go to aux to get audio from this guy. This guy has 2 USB inputs and one 3.5mm aux input, headphone type jack. I have those running through the console and into the box. So basically what I did is I cut a little hole in the box, and the 2 USB cables are coming from there. The aux input is sitting right, kind of hard to see, but it's sitting right here next to the cigarette or power outlet. Now what I can do is power or connect pretty much anything USB here. So what I do is I have an old school iPod. So it's my iPod. So the way I do this is this guy is a static arrestor. Sometimes you get some engine, some static from RPM noise and other electronics. So I've got that guy plugged into the aux. Then this USB to iPod cable is actually a Y cable. So that's the Apple 30-pin connector, and it breaks off here into one of the headphone jacks and the other a USB plug, and the USB just powers it, and then the audio comes out of the headphone jack. So I can plug this guy in, and then plug my iPod in. There's the iPod. And now I get power to the iPod, and if I have, this is the app that just plays through. So there, now I get music from my iPod. The other thing that this guy has, well, first of all, this guy has Bluetooth, so I can actually make phone calls from my phone. I can actually play music from my phone. It also has its own radio. And then it has, close some of these settings here. I have the offline maps, so you can download maps of states and then use this guy for GPS. There's a GPS antenna that I did that. I attached under the dashboard. So there's that. And the last big thing is if you buy a Android Auto and Apple CarPlay dongle, so these guys are all over the place, you can actually get Android Auto and CarPlay on this unit. So basically you have to download, it's called AutoKit, off of the website that they give you when you buy that little guy. It's this program, and then basically plug this guy into the one of the USB connectors, so you can plug that guy into that guy, plug the other end into your phone, and you get CarPlay and Android Auto on the head unit, which is pretty slick. So now it's a pretty modern machine. I don't have to worry about steering wheel controls. This is an LL Bean, so I've got the audio or yeah, up and down volume controls on this side. This is station control. This doesn't work on the head unit, but it does work down here. And usually when I'm listening to the radio, I just listen to the radio on my standard stereo. The reception's a little better out of the standard stereo. But, you know, now I got, this guy will do GPS, he'll do phone calls. It works fairly nicely. The CarPlay and Android Auto is a little flaky, and I'm not sure actually if it's this thing or if it's the unit itself. But that's the only thing that I'm really having trouble, or it's inconsistent connecting with. No matter what it's doing, it will always show the backup camera. So that's pretty cool. So that's everything in a nutshell. That's the way that guy works. These guys are 180, 250 bucks on eBay and various electronics places.